Hello, and welcome to Games I Enjoyed This Month. So, let's start with the first game, Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima takes us back to 1274, where the lands were filled with weeps and during the Mongol invasion of Japan. You play as Jin Sakai, a samurai who realizes that hitting people with swords actually kills them. His honor holds him back from victory, so he resorts to anything it takes to win against the Mongols. From kicks to the shins to throwing sticky bombs, which definitely do not look like old socks. The game opens with the infamous Battle of Komoda, where Jin and his fellow samurai make the bold move of standing in a straight line for easy Mongol target practice. Unsurprisingly, Jin gets some free Mongolian acupuncture in his bag. Meanwhile, his uncle Lord Shimura volunteers for Mongol prison because he has just to know what makes Mongolian horse milk so salty. Jin, on a quest for redemption and protecting his uncle from becoming a furry, sets out to beat the Mongols and take back his land. Since Jin can't handle the big unhealthy looking leader of the Mongols, he decides to make a graceful exit by falling off a bridge. After being rescued by Yuna, a thief who probably didn't plan on rescuing the dead-looking samurai, Jin faces a choice. Stick to the noble samurai code, or do what's necessary and beat the shit out of everyone.
How are your wounds? Can you run?
Jin embraces the shadows, becoming the Ghost, a warrior who's as subtle as a surprise kidney punch at a birthday party, and uses anything, including nutshots, to dismantle his enemies. Determined to rescue his uncle from Mongolian captivity and whatever weird bonding sessions they are having, Jin gathers a squad of completely mentally stable and well-adjusted individuals. Sensei Ishikawa, a grumpy archer who sounds like he gargles nails every morning.
I was on my way when bandits attacked me.
And Lady Masako, whose hobby is decapitation. Together, they slice through Mongol forces one bloody encounter at a time. It's basically an episode of Samurai Jack, but with more grudges. Just when Jin starts feeling like the world's angriest stealth ninja, his old buddy Ryuso pulls the ultimate bro move, their secret handshake. Knife in the bag, a classic.
The Khan put a bounty on the ghost. Anyone can claim it.
You'd think years of friendship would at least buy you some loyalty, but no. Ryoso's out here competing in the Mongol Olympics with backstabbing as his main event. Jin, heartbroken, learns two things: trust is for suckers, and Ryoso got a better retirement plan with the Mongols. In conclusion, Ghost of Tsushima isn't just your average save the world story. It's a journey from samurai honor to I'll do whatever it takes to win, even if it means chucking dirt in your eyes. Jin starts off as a rule-following warrior, but ends up as a one-man revolution of chaos, fear, and questionable ethics. By the end, it's not just about saving Tsushima. It's about embracing the mess you've made and hoping no one remembers the bodies. Now onto the gameplay, because apparently being a samurai isn't just about looking cool with a sword. It's also about swinging it around and pretending you're the best thing to happen to the island since rice paddies. Ghost of Tsushima's combat system is a delicate balance between I'm a master swordman and fuck, I hope that wasn't a permanent injury. You can engage in flashy standoffs where timing is everything, and the margin for error is so slim that even a mosquito would get a better shot at winning. Stealth is also an option in Ghost of Tsushima. Stealth is an art form, except here the canvas is the body of your enemies, and the brush is a deadly sharp tanto. You sneak through these places like a cat burglar with a PhD in how to kill as loudly and messy as possible. There's also progression in Ghost of Tsushima. Progression is about unlocking new abilities, so you can make even more dramatic entrances and exits. Want to be a ghost who makes enemies wet their pants like me during the last school dance? Equip some armor that looks like it's straight out of a horror movie. Prefer to keep it honorable? Stick to your katana and face your enemies head on. while your gear makes you look like you're auditioning for a period drama. And let's not forget the standouts. Those moments where you duel enemies one by one, where they willingly run into your blade only to get cut down like butter. Plus, you've got duels against unique characters like Sasaki Kojiro, who you send straight to Valhalla, ready to fillet Poseidon into a sashimi. In summary, Ghost of Tsushima offers gameplay that's as straightforward as it is stylish. Whether you're slicing through hordes of enemies or sneaking around like a shadow with a bad sense of direction, the game makes sure you feel like a samurai, or at least someone who can handle a sword without dropping it. Now, let's talk about whether you should aim for 100% completion in Ghost of Tsushima. Sure, Tsushima offers a sprawling world full of things, and when I say things, I mean a lot of things. From banners and artifacts to fog stands and hot springs, the island has more collectibles than a yard sale. What begins as an epic samurai journey can quickly spiral into a soul-crushing grind. At first, exploring the island feels like an adventure, but by the time you're searching for the 50th banner or the last artifact, which is by the way the bathwater of Khotun Khan, or that one last fog stand, you might start to wonder if it's worth sacrificing your sanity. So, should you aim for 100% completion? Unless you're a diehard collector or have an unhealthy relationship with checklists? Probably not. Let's take a moment to appreciate the little things that made Ghost of Tsushima more than just another open world game for me. It's not just about slicing enemies, it's about slicing them stylishly. The large-scale battles in Ghost of Tsushima make you feel like a samurai rock star. There's something deeply satisfying about facing off against a dozen enemies and cutting through them like you're carving a roast at a family dinner. Expect here, the roast fights back. Jin doesn't just have one way to kill you, he has several. Each stance is tailor-made to make your enemies forget every decision they've made leading up to that moment. Tsushima's world is so beautiful it's a bit distracting. How are you supposed to focus on battle tactics when you're busy admiring the scenery? Overall, Ghost of Tsushima is a game that delivers on its promise. A compelling story, satisfying combat, and breathtaking world to explore. But if you're thinking about 100% completion, you might want to pack some extra patience for the endless collectibles. Still, it's definitely worth your time. I give Ghost of Tsushima 8 out of 10 foxy good boys. Because let's be honest, those foxes are the real stars of the game. The second game is NotFor Broadcast. NotFor Broadcast throws you into the wild world of live television, where you control the news, or at least you try to. You're the person behind the switchboard deciding what the nation sees and hears. It's like George Orwell's 1984, but with more technical difficulties and a lot more swearing.
Seem to be losing the signal there, Tony.
You start as a lowly studio worker who, through a series of unfortunate events, or maybe just a colossal lack of better options, finds himself in charge of the national news. Every button you press, every camera angle you switch, could be the difference between a smooth broadcast and a national meltdown.
What's going on here? Yes. We want our money. Yes, very.
NotFor Broadcast is a satirical look at the media's power wrapped in a darkly comedic package. It's less about saving the world and more about trying not to completely screw it up. One broadcast at a time.
I'm fine!
Now, let's dive into the heart of NotFor Broadcast, the gameplay. Imagine trying to juggle flaming swords while riding a unicycle on a tightrope. That's basically the game. Your main task is to manage the broadcast by switching camera feeds, censoring foul language, and keeping the audience entertained. And just when you think you've got the hang of it, the game throws in more layers of chaos. Commercials to manage, tapes to switch, and the ever-present threat of the signal cutting out. Every decision you make in the control room has real consequences, whether you choose to push the government's narrative or sneak in some rebellious content. Your choices will shape the story.
I'm deeply uncomfortable with your...
So, should you go for 100%ing completion in NotFor Broadcast?
Yes!
The answer is yes, absolutely. The game is packed with variation in its segments, making each broadcast feel fresh. NotFor Broadcast is one of those games that rewards curiosity. Let's talk about what really makes NotFor Broadcast stand out. The things that made me enjoy every minute in the control room. The game is a masterclass in satire, poking fun at everything from media manipulation to political hypocrisy. Also, the game uses real actors in its broadcast, which gives the game a unique, almost surreal quality.
Hello, Timmy. Can you see me?
Mummy, who's that lady?
Overall, NotFor Broadcast is a hectic, chaotic, and incredibly fun game that keeps you on your toes from start to finish.
Absolute ferret shite.
It looks like Johnny may have been celebrating a little bit too much.
Hopefully he'll get taken out now. Genital...
I give NotFor Broadcast 8 out of 10 snuggle hugs because managing live TV has never been this much fun. The last game is Domekeeper. Domekeeper doesn't bother with a complex narrative because who needs one when you're stuck in a hellish planet mining for resources like a desperate prospector in the Wild West. You're a lone miner with a drill, a dome, and a lot of bad luck, but hey, someone's gotta do it. The game gives you one simple mission: dig, collect, survive. Just like Gold Digger in real life, except instead of sifting through Tinder profiles of old people, you're drilling through rocks and trying not to get eaten by whatever passes for wildlife on this planet. As you dig deeper, the planet decides it's had enough of your shenanigans and starts throwing tougher enemies at you. It's the universe's way of saying maybe you should stop digging. But of course you won't, because you're here to win, or at least not die trying. Sure, Domekeeper doesn't have a deep story, but who cares? The real plot is whether you can keep your dome intact while everything around you tries to kill you. When it comes to gameplay, Domekeeper doesn't hold back. It's a frantic mix of resource management, tower defense, and survival, all wrapped in a charming pixel art style that makes the constant threat of death feel oddly endearing. In Domekeeper, managing your resources is a balancing act with a dark twist. The more you collect, the slower you move. Just like childhood trauma, the deeper you dig, the more it drags you down until you're forced to cut it loose. As you mine deeper, you'll have to fend off increasingly challenging waves of enemies that are dead set on turning your dome into scrap metal. It's like trying to solve a puzzle while someone's banging at the door and the puzzle pieces are on fire. Each run in Domekeeper is a balance of risk and reward. At first, you're definitely just scraping by with every wave, but at some point you start to turn the tide, and the waves get easier as your upgrades kick in. In short, Domekeeper's gameplay is a blend of fast-paced action and strategic decision-making. It's the kind of game that keeps you on the edge of your seat, with every moment a potential turning point between survival and total destruction. So, should you go for 100% completion in Domekeeper? Absolutely. Domekeeper is a small, simple game, but that's exactly why going for 100%ing this game is so doable. Even though it's not a massive game, Domekeeper's replayability comes from mastering its systems and refining your strategy with each run. If you're looking for a game where 100% completion feels achievable, without sinking hundreds of hours, Domekeeper is a solid choice. Now, let's talk about what really makes Domekeeper stand out. Those things that kept me hooked while I was digging through that hostile planet. First up, the art style. Domekeeper's pixel art visuals are charming and deceptively simple. Also, the upgrades and progression. At first, you're definitely just scraping by with every wave, but at some point you start to turn the tide, and the waves get easier as your upgrades kick in. Also, something I really enjoyed is the variety in enemy design, something that keeps the gameplay exciting. In short, Domekeeper delivers a mix of charming art style, satisfying progression, and diverse enemy design, making the game a thoroughly enjoyable experience. Overall, Domekeeper is a sweet and simple game that offers a lot in a small package. I give Domekeeper 6 out of 10 ores because while it's a solid experience, it just didn't dig deep enough to keep me fully invested.